Asus ROG Zephyrus G14 has reigned supreme as one of the best gaming laptops out there for its power, its portability, and its price. And now the 2022 version is out with some pretty dramatic differences, including a 16:10 aspect ratio display, a webcam in the top bezel, finally, and all AMD internals, including a Ryzen 6000 CPU and Radeon 6000 GPUs. So with a more refined premium build quality, a mux switch for making the most out of the graphics, a PCI Gen 4 SSD, DDR5 RAM, and plenty of other updates, can the Zephyrus keep its spot on the throne and outrun the looming spectre of the Alienware X14? Well, let's get into it by starting with what is great about this mini beast. But before I divulge, if you're new to us, please subscribe to us for more reviews like this in the future. Cheers! The Z14 hasn't actually changed that much, but I'm okay with this because this machine, thanks to its small refinements, is gorgeous as hell. A milky white finish covers the magnesium alloy lid with a revamped Asus Anime Matrix display with more holes and more LEDs, and it continues through to the nice feeling soft touch paint on the inside, along with a far larger trackpad that has a smooth glide but quite a shallow click, and the keyboard with 1.7mm of travel that has a great tactile feel for laptop gaming. Every bit of this compact design feels industrial and impactful. The Ergo Lift hinge can now fold out to a full 180 degrees rather than being quite limited to about here-ish on the previous models. And also, rather than just being a gap at the bottom, there's now a chamfered metallic edge. The 91% screen to body ratio keeps the bezels nice and thin, and while the 720p webcam on this is about as good as you'd expect, basically a potato,
it's a warmly welcomed addition to those who want to do more with their gaming laptop.
And the port selection has been increased over last year's model as well. Power jack, HDMI 2.0, and the USB-C port with DisplayPort 1.4 and 100 watts of power delivery in there, and the necessary 3.5mm headphone jack, alongside two USB-A 3.2, another USB-C, and a micro SD card slot. Even in the small details like the purple metallic ROG stamp on the front, this looks and feels not only like a great laptop to game on, it feels like a great laptop to work on. And that's further reinforced by the 3.8 pound frame that measures in at 12.3 by 8.9 by just 0.8 inches thick when it's closed. That makes it one of the thinnest and lightest gaming laptops you can get. Not as thin as the Alienware X14, but lighter than it nonetheless. But that smaller size does not make this thing a slouch, as we got to find out just how powerful the AMD Ryzen 6000 series of chips are. Spoiler alert, it's pretty powerful. The combination of a Ryzen 9 6900HS and 32GB of DDR5 in this top of the range model ensured the G14 tore through absolutely everything that we threw at it, including having 40 Chrome tabs open with 5 YouTube videos and Assassin's Creed Odyssey running in the background all at the same time. And our Geekbench 5.4 testing backs this up as well, with an overall score of 10,004. That is a hell of an impressive score that beats out our premium gaming laptop average, but it is pipped to the post by the 12th gen Intel Core i7 in the Alienware X14. Simply, this thing is real fast. And while numbers dictate that the 12th gen Intel is out in the lead, in real world use, that's not going to be that much of a problem for you. And just like before, the battery life is bloody brilliant on this thing. The previous Zephyrus G14 was one of the best gaming laptops for sheer stamina, and Asus has done it again with a crazy good 10 hours and 38 minutes in our testing. That is nearly double the time of the Alienware X14. Of course, just like any gaming laptop, you can kill this thing fast if you do some intense gaming on the battery. For example, I did so after about 3 hours on Halo Infinite, which is just about the time of a megabus trip down to London. Yes, I am that cheap. But this is where things start to go downhill a little bit for this thing. Not to the point that this laptop is a complete deal breaker, and I want to make sure I've made that clear and put that on the record, but there's just some things that you should know. Firstly, this all AMD system is not what it's cracked up to be on the graphics side. The Radeon RX 6800S with Fidelity FX super resolution technology only barely beat out the Alienware X14, and the system as a whole is decent for gaming, but it's still not as good as we'd hope for a system of this caliber, and more importantly, its cost. In our testing, the 2022 Asus ROG Zephyrus G14 consistently fell behind the premium gaming laptop average. And then when compared to a lot of its similarly priced competition, it's quite a mixed bag, falling to the back of the pack for Red Dead Redemption 2 and our Metro Exodus benchmark. Now, there could be a few reasons. Game optimization for NVIDIA GPUs over AMD, the lack of drivers optimizing the 6800S to these specific tiles, but these numbers should be better regardless. And in my own personal use, the problem seems to be twofold: the VRAM and the heat. Like, for example, I was playing Forza Horizon 5, and when I did the benchmark, the 6800S was deemed powerful enough for ultra settings across the board. So of course, I flicked them all on. But then when you get into the gameplay after about 2 minutes, you're hit with a VRAM warning, the frame rate gets choppy, and then you're greeted with some weird rubber banding in your gameplay as the memory is stretched to max capacity. It's just a bit of a VRAM bottleneck. That's not unique to the 6800S, but it's a problem that's worth noting. Alongside that, this thing gets hot, like really hot. So hot, in fact, that I've had this thing shut down in mid-match on Call of Duty Warzone and Age of Empires 4 with graphics settings set to high without any sign of it maxing out the VRAM. The fans were obviously kicking up a storm, but it would just shut off. And when we tested the spiciness ourselves, we realized it would even make Sean Evans blush. We saw the underside clock in at 130 degrees after 15 minutes of gameplay, with the highest temperatures when we went further going up to 135 degrees. That is way over the X14's peak heat of 113 degrees. The top deck stays bang on at the top of that 95 degree threshold, but once you run your finger across the top of here when it's running at full whack, you can really feel how hot it gets. In fact, it's already feeling quite warm now, and all I'm doing is reading a script. The next problem, the display. It's 2560 by 1600, 120 Hz, and a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. Sharp and smooth, a great aspect ratio for work, but it's not as vivid as we would like it to be. In our testing, we found that the screen covers 74% of the DCI-P3 color gamut, which falls beneath the 81.6% premium gaming laptop average, but the overall brightness has been improved quite significantly at 473 nits, which is quite a way above the 324 nit average. And ultimately, this all leads up to the main problem with the Zephyrus G14. It's pricing. You'll notice that throughout this video, I've not only been comparing it to the Alienware X14, the premium gaming laptop category and the competition that we've sparred it against is stuff like the Lenovo Legion 7i and the Alienware M15 Ryzen edition. That's what the cost of this system has dictated us to compare it to. At the time that we've done this video, we don't have complete pricing in the US, but we have seen it pop up in Best Buy, starting at $1649 with a Ryzen 9 and a Radeon RX 6700S GPU. But this fully spec version that we've tried here comes in at $2,500. That is $400 more than a similarly spec'd Alienware X14, $350 more than an Asus ROG Zephyrus M16 with a 12th gen Intel Core i9 and an RTX 3070 Ti, and it's $500 more than the new G15 with AMD Ryzen 9 6900HS and an RTX 3070 Ti inside as well. It is a dramatic increase in cost. The Asus ROG Zephyrus G14 has lost the key thing that made it so great in the first place. It's value for money. And that is the unfortunate story of this 2022 model. It's pretty damn good, but with the high standards we have for this beast, it could be so much better. It gets real hot real fast, and while the Ryzen 6000 chips are really powerful, the Radeon graphics are not as powerful as we'd like in a system that costs this much. Most of you will be happy as Larry with the new Zephyrus G14, and the form factor has been an absolute breath of fresh air for me and my gaming on the go. But right now, you can get so much more for your money. So shop around and see if you can get a better price to performance ratio, or wait around and see if any deals pop up. And that is it. Thank you so very much for watching. I'd personally love to know what you think. Are you a fan of the smaller form factor, or do you prefer something a bit bigger? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Likes and subs if you enjoyed the video, and read the full review on laptopmag.com. I've been the awfully English Jason England, and I'll see you next time. Bye.